Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well today. If you're a PlayStation enthusiast like me, you're probably aware that the PS3 still has a lot to offer, whether it's for playing classic games, modding, or even running custom firmware. In today's video, we're going to show you how to jailbreak your PS3, step by step, so you can unlock new features and give your console a whole new life. Whether you're looking to install custom firmware, run homebrew apps, or play backed-up games, jailbreaking your PS3 opens up a world of possibilities. Alright, without further ado, let's get started. Before we begin, there are a few things I need to share with you. Here, I'll show you how to jailbreak a PS3 and install custom firmware from the very beginning. So, if your PS3 already has custom firmware installed, you can skip ahead to this timestamp. Next, not all PS3 models are compatible with custom firmware installation. For PlayStation 3 FAT models, it's confirmed that custom firmware can be installed. On the other hand, PS3 Super Slim models cannot have custom firmware installed, but they can still use HEN. I'll create a separate tutorial for that later. As for PS3 Slim models, there are two possibilities. Some can have custom firmware installed, and some cannot, depending on the PS3's serial number, which you can find on the back of the console. Specifically for serial numbers starting with 25, we need to check directly on the PS3 using the PS3 toolset. With that, let's switch over to the PS3. As my PS3 happens to have a serial number starting with 25, we'll check whether my PS3 is compatible with custom firmware installation or not. First, connect your PS3 to the internet, but before that, let's disable Auto Update in the Settings menu. Go to Settings, then System Settings. Select the top option, Automatic Update, and turn it off. Once that's done, we can connect the PS3 to the internet. Still in the Settings menu, scroll down and select Network Settings. Make sure that Internet connection is enabled. Then, choose Internet Connection Settings. Press OK and select Easy. Next, press the Right Direction button. Choose the type of internet connection you're using, either via Wi-Fi or LAN cable. I'll select wireless here and press the right button again. If your Wi-Fi requires a password, select WPA-PSK. Enter your Wi-Fi password and press Enter. Press the right direction button and then Enter again. Finally, select Test Connection to ensure the PS3 is connected to the internet. Okay, the PS3 is now connected to the internet, as you can see in the status here. Next, we need to set the date and time. Still in the Settings menu, select Date and Time Settings. Make sure Set Automatically is turned on. Then, choose Date and Time and select Set via Internet. Alright, that's done. Now we move on to the step where we check if this PS3 with a serial number starting with 25 can have custom firmware installed. To do this, open the internet browser. Once it opens, we need to clean the browser first. This is to make the browser run more smoothly and reduce the chances of failure during the jailbreak process. To do this, press Triangle, select Tools, then choose Delete Cookies and confirm by selecting Yes. Next, using the same method, delete the search history, followed by the cache, and finally the authentication information. After that, still in the Tools menu, make sure Cookies is set to Allow and JavaScript is set to On. Then, open the Home Page menu, set it to Blank Page, and select OK. The browser cleanup and setup process is now complete. Let's exit the browser first and then re-enter it. Once it opens, press Start and enter the following website address. Then press Start again and wait for the loading process to finish until a message with a QR code appears. If an error occurs during the loading process with a yellow or red notification message, restart the PS3 and reopen this web page. Once it's loaded successfully, select OK. Before proceeding, let's bookmark this web page since we'll need to open it again during the custom firmware installation process. This will save us from having to retype the web page address later. To bookmark it, press Select. If your PS3 already has existing bookmarks, it's best to delete them first. To do this, highlight the bookmark name, press triangle, and select Delete. Repeat this for any other bookmarks. After that, select Add Bookmark to save the new bookmark. Alright, now we're going to check if my PS3 can have custom firmware installed. To do this, click on the System Manager tab and wait for the process to complete. Pay attention to this section here. If the CFW compatible PS3 status is checked, it means my PS3 can have custom firmware installed. On the other hand, if there's a cross mark, it means the PS3 can only be jailbroken using the hen method. Alright, now let's move on to the next step. Before performing the jailbreak, we need to update the PS3's original firmware to a version compatible with custom firmware. At the time of making this video, the highest version that supports custom firmware is version 4.91. Coincidentally, this is also the latest version of the PS3's original firmware as of this video. To update the original firmware, you can do it directly via the internet. Go to the Settings menu, select System Update at the top, and then choose Update via Internet. However, if the latest version of the PS3's original firmware exceeds the version that can be jailbroken, you'll need to update the firmware via storage media or flash drive. This method allows you to select the firmware version you want to install. Now, I'll show you how to update the firmware via a flash drive. For this step, let's move to the computer. First, we need to download the original PS3 firmware. Here, I'm already on a website that provides a firmware archive. Choose the version you want to download. In this case, we'll select version 4.91. Click Download here, as the other link is broken. I've already downloaded it, and make sure the file is named exactly like this, ps3update.pup. Next, we'll copy this file to a flash drive. Plug the flash drive into your computer. The flash drive must be formatted to FAT32. If it's not, format it to FAT32 first. After that, create a folder on the flash drive named PS3, all in uppercase letters. Inside the PS3 folder, create another folder named Update, also in uppercase. Place the ps3update.pup file inside the Update folder. Once that's done, eject the flash drive and plug it into the PS3. Now, we'll proceed with installing the original PS3 firmware from the flash drive. Before that, let me show you the current firmware on my PS3. Here, you can see it's still version 4.90. Alright, now go to the System Update menu at the top. Select Update via Storage Media. If the update file is named correctly and placed in the right folder, it will detect firmware version 4.91. Select OK to proceed. Here, press the right direction button, select Accept, and press the right button again. Finally, select Start to begin the update process. Once the update is complete, your PS3 will restart automatically. Now let's check the firmware version again. As you can see here, the firmware has been updated to version 4.91. Alright, the original firmware update process is complete. Now, let's move on to the next step. In this step, we're going to back up the PS3's flash memory. Let me briefly explain why this is necessary. Jailbreaking your PS3 does carry some risks, with the worst-case scenario being that your PS3 could become bricked. Although this is very rare. By backing up the flash memory, you'll be able to restore your PS3 to its original state if something goes wrong during the jailbreak process that bricks your console. Now, to back up the PS3's flash memory, first, open the PS3 browser. Make sure your PS3 is still connected to the internet. Press Select to open the bookmark menu, and choose the PS3 toolset bookmark we saved earlier. Wait for the page to load completely until the QR code message appears, just like before. If you encounter an error, you'll see a message to reload the page. Once the QR code message appears, select OK. Next, choose the System Manager tab. then select Flash Memory and choose Save Flash Memory Backup. Next, choose the storage location for the backup file. Here, we'll save it to the flash drive that we've already plugged in. Select Dev USB 001 for the flash drive. In your case, it might be USB 000, depending on which slot you plugged your flash drive into. Then, select Save to begin the flash memory backup process. Wait for the process to complete. Once done, you'll see the notification dump process completed successfully. The next step is to validate the flash memory backup file to ensure it's not corrupted. As the message here states, to validate the backup file, we need to use the PS3 checker application. Remove the flash drive from the PS3 and plug it into your computer. Now, let's switch to the computer. If we open the flash drive, you'll see a new file here called dump.bin, which is the backup file for the PS3 flash memory. Now we're going to validate this file. First, download the PS3 checker application. Here, I'm already on the GitHub page. The link is in the description. Scroll down a bit and click on PS3 checker standalone. Then click this icon to download it. I've already downloaded it, so next we'll extract the compressed file. Open the extracted folder, and also open the flash drive containing the dump.bin file. Arrange them like this. To validate, drag the dump.bin file and drop it onto the drag-and-drop file inside the PS3 checker folder. Wait for the validation process to finish. Once it's done, check the results below. If the number of danger and number of warning values both show 0 like this, then the dump.bin file is safe to keep as a backup. However, if the results show anything other than 0, you'll need to repeat the flash memory backup process as before and validate it again. Alright, this file can now be saved on your computer and stored safely for future use, just in case it's needed. The PS3 flash memory backup process is complete. Now, let's move on to the next step, installing custom firmware on the PS3. First, of course, we need to download the custom firmware. I'm already on the website here. As I mentioned earlier, the latest version of the custom firmware at the time of this video is version 4.912. To download, scroll down. Here you'll see several options available for download: PEX, DPEX, CX, and DEX. You can read the explanation of the differences here. For us regular users, we're going to download the PEX version. Next, you'll see more options. No BD is for PS3s with a broken Blu-ray drive, while No BT is for PS3s with broken Bluetooth. No BD and No BT is for PS3s, with both a broken Blu-ray drive and Bluetooth. Lastly, OC is for those who want custom firmware that supports overclocking. Here, I'm choosing the standard PEX version, but you should pick the one that matches the condition of your PS3. To download, click the three-dot icon on the right, then choose Download and select Standard Download. Let's wait for the download to finish. While waiting for the custom firmware to finish downloading, we also need to download the MD5 checker application. The function of this application is to ensure that the custom firmware file we copy to the flash drive remains unchanged and is not corrupted. This is important to prevent any errors during the installation process of the custom firmware on the PS3 later. I'm already on the website here, and you can find the download option at the bottom of the page. Okay, here I've already downloaded both files, the custom firmware and the MD5 checker. First, we extract the compressed files. Next, we'll copy the custom firmware to the flash drive. Plug the flash drive into the computer. As before, make sure the flash drive is formatted to FAT32. Here, I'm using the same flash drive I used to install the original firmware and back up the flash memory. So, I'll delete the contents of the flash drive first, especially the original firmware file we installed earlier, to avoid mixing it up with the custom firmware file. Now, open the custom firmware folder that we extracted earlier. Copy the PS3 folder and the custom firmware file inside it to the flash drive. Once that's done, we'll match the MD5 hash of the custom firmware file on the flash drive with its original MD5 hash. To do this, open the WinMD5 application. Drag the PS3 update PUP file from the PS3 update folder onto the WinMD5 application. Wait until the MD5 hash appears below. Once it's displayed, open the md5.txt file located in the custom firmware folder. Copy the original md5 hash into the text box below. Then click Verify to verify or compare the hashes. If the message Matched appears, it means the custom firmware file on the flash drive is ready to be installed on the PS3. If the message Not Matched appears, recopy the custom firmware file to the flash drive. If it still shows Not Matched, re-download the custom firmware file. Okay, now eject the flash drive from the computer and plug it into the PS3. Now we're switching to the PS3. Before installing the custom firmware, we first need to perform the flash memory patch process. To do this, reopen the PS3 browser and ensure the PS3 is still connected to the internet. Press Select to display the bookmark menu. Choose the PS3 toolset. Wait until the web page fully loads. Next, select the System Manager tab again. This time, choose Flash Memory Patch. Select Load Patch via HTTP. Wait for the patch download process to complete. Once it's done, choose Close. Go back to Flash Memory Patch, and this time select Apply Loaded Patch. Read the message displayed on the screen. If you're sure, select Yes. Wait for the patching process to finish. Once it's complete, you'll be prompted to restart the PS3. Go ahead and restart your PS3. After the PS3 restarts with the flash drive still plugged in, we will now install the custom firmware. The process for installing the custom firmware is the same as installing the original firmware update via flash drive, as we did earlier. Go to the Settings menu. Before proceeding, disable the internet connection since we no longer need it. Now go to the very top menu, System Update, and choose Update via Storage Media. Here you can see the custom firmware version 4.91. 2 EvilNat PEX is detected. Select OK. Press the right direction button, choose Accept, press the right direction button again, and finally select Start to begin the custom firmware installation process. Wait for the installation process to complete, and the PS3 will restart itself. Once restarted, you can see the boot screen now says EvilNat. If we go to the Settings menu at the very bottom, a new menu option has been added, Debug Settings. Additionally, if we go to the Game menu, a new option has appeared, Package Manager. This is where we can install homebrew applications, such as game managers, Webman, Multiman, and even backup games. Alright, we've successfully installed the custom firmware on the PS3. Next, I'll show you how to install the Game Manager, specifically Webman, and how to play backup games. First, we will install the Game Manager application, Webman. Here, I'm already on its website. Scroll down and download the latest version, which is compatible with Firmware 4.91. Click Download here. Next, copy the Webman installer file to your flash drive. Make sure the flash drive is formatted to FAT32, otherwise, it won't be detected by the PS3. Place the PKG file in the root folder of the flash drive. Once done, eject the flash drive and plug it into the PS3. Now let's go back to the PS3. To install the PKG file that we copied to the flash drive earlier, go to the Game menu and select Package Manager. Then choose Install Package Files, followed by Standard. You'll see the PKG file, which is the Webman installer, detected here. Next, simply select it to start the installation process. Wait for the process to complete. Once it's done, return to the Game menu. You'll notice a new icon has been added, labeled Webman Mod Installer. What we installed earlier was just the installer. Next, select it again to install the Webman application. As you can see here, there are two installation options, Full or Light. I'll install the full version. As instructed, hold down L1 while running the installer. Wait for the installation process to finish. Once completed, we can delete the installer since it's no longer needed. Press triangle, then select Delete. Now, in the Game menu, you'll see another new option, Webman Games. Next, we'll move on to playing backup games through the Webman Game Manager. For this, let's head back to the computer. There are 3 types of PS3 backup games available today. The first is in ISO format, the second is in the form of a PKG file, and the last is a backup game in folder format, which contains all the files needed to run a game. For backup games in ISO format and folder format, you simply copy them directly to a flash drive or the PS3's internal hard drive. Then, use the Webman application to scan them so they can be detected on the PS3. Meanwhile, for backup games in PKG format, you need to install them just like we installed the Webman application earlier. After installation, the game icon will appear in the game menu as well. As an example here, I'm using a backup game in ISO format. I've already copied the game to the flash drive. For your information, backup games in ISO format need to be placed inside a folder named PS3 ISO. Then, put the backup game file into that folder. Okay, now let's eject the flash drive and return to the PS3. Insert the flash drive containing the backup game into the PS3. First, I'll show you that no game is currently displayed here. Now, let's select the Webman Games menu, then choose Webman Setup, and next select Refresh Webman Game and XMB. The PS3 will now scan for games on the hard disk, or the flash drive you just connected. Wait until the XMB screen reappears. Okay, it's done. There should now be an additional menu for the games stored on the flash drive. Let's check the Webman menu again. You can see that a new folder for PS3 games has been added. If we open it, the game on our flash drive is displayed. Now, let's select it. The system will take us back to the game menu, specifically to the game we just selected. We just need to run the game to start playing, but I won't proceed with it here. Alright, that's the tutorial on how to jailbreak a PS3 by installing custom firmware. All the links to the files and applications needed in this tutorial are provided in the description. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for visiting this channel, and see you again in the next video.